Hello everyone and welcome. We'll just wait another minute or so, let people join. Hope you're all doing well. Let us know where you're tuning in from in the comments. It's always nice so that we doesn't look like we're talking to just a screen.
Where have you joined from, Treva?
I'm in very sunny Clonbur outside Galway. We've had the first day of blue skies in a while. It's been lashing rain. What about you, Dan?
I'm in, where am I? Oxfordshire. It's just about got sunny again.
That's good. It's been pretty wild here the last few days in Ireland.
Very good. We've got Portsmouth, we've got the UK, we've got Steve from Michigan. I'm not going to try and pronounce the town. I might need some help on that. Okay, should we kick off?
Yeah, let's go. Okay, so yeah, thanks everyone for joining today. So I'm Treva Stankard and I work in events and partner marketing here at CyberSentriq. I'm delighted to host our first webinar of the year today, where we'll deep dive all things about our product roadmap. So it's been an exciting start to the year so far for us. Just last week, we attended our first major event of the year, which was BET in the London Excel. So if you were there, let us know. Yeah, so for those that don't know, BET is one of the world's largest EdTech events. So it was huge. We had over 300 people express interest in our new education bundles, which was amazing. So yeah, really, really exciting start to the year. It was great to get back on the road, meet our partners. So if you're attending any events in the next coming months, let us know. We'd love to meet you guys in person. But yeah, just before we get started, some brief housekeeping. The webinar is being recorded and we'll send the recording out afterwards. There'll be time for Q&A, so feel free to ask questions throughout and we'll get back to the questions at the end. And any we don't get to, we'll contact you directly. And we'll be doing like just a quick survey at the end to let us know what your thoughts are of today's webinar. So yeah, without further ado, delighted to welcome today's speaker, Head of Product, Dan Boddington.
Cool. Thanks, Treva. Thanks very much for that lovely introduction. And thanks so much, everyone, for joining. I really appreciate everyone carving out a Wednesday afternoon in January, which feels like it's been going on for about 6 or 7 weeks now. Soon it'll be February, but carving out some time for our quarterly update. So I think we'll obviously be joined by lots of people who came from Red Store, so hopefully you recognise myself, and I can see lots of people I recognise in the list, but also lots of people who would have purchased Titan HQ products. And I think just probably a little bit of housekeeping before we start. So those from the Titan side may have been expecting Connor Hines as Director of Product over at Titan historically. He's still with us. He's actually on paternity leave at the moment, so we wish him all the best. He has 2 babies that have arrived in January, but today you're stuck with me, so I'll do my best to cover all the email security and cybersecurity portfolio products and our updates there. But we'll expect Connor back soon. But if you do have any questions, fire them into the chat and we'll make sure we answer those as part of the session. Good. So our first little bit is just a recap and a reminder of where we are. So as I said, those who have joined us from Red Store and those who joined us from the Titan HQ team, we now are one entity that is known as CyberSentriq. So if you hear CyberSentriq, think Titan and Red Store, and if you hear Red Store and Titan HQ, think CyberSentriq. But in essence, we are firmly building a platform for SMBs served through the channel from MSPs, just like yourselves, with a world-class leading cybersecurity and data protection platform. And if you actually take a step back and look at what is on the platform now, it's really quite a comprehensive platform already. So we have things like the Microsoft 365 and Entra ID backup and recovery tools, as well as some other backup things like machines and Azure VM backup. but also from the Titan HQ team, MX-based, gateway-based email security, as well as our sort of next-gen API, ICES, phishing protection, email security as well. And then on top of that, we've got things like our security awareness training, we've got our email archiving, email encryption, DNS filtering, and lots of other good stuff that sits in there. But these are sort of our core products on our platform now that we've joined forces together, and it's really, really quite exciting. What I'm going to spend most of today doing is going through what our plan is over the next half or so, so from now until June, about how we are, what we're working on, and what will be delivered throughout that half. And I've split it into 3 sections. So one is data protection, and think red store backup. One is the email security, so I think Titan HQ, and then the third and final one is looking at how we're bringing the platforms together and turning it into a really, really comprehensive cybersecurity overall solutions. So first, we'll look at the data protection, and one of our first sort of things we've released recently is our machines backup clients. This is our sort of bread and butter, going back way back when with some of the red store customers I can see on here. But we've released in Q4 a load of new updates to latest OS supports. That's across the Windows, Mac OS, and the Linux distros we support, as well as actually those security updates, and also increasing and improving our full system recovery support in the event we need to perform recoveries via things like instant data. We are the last little bit to be released is our Mac OS Sequoia update for ESE clients. Expect that any day now, if it hasn't already gone out already. And as a quick recap of some of the other things we've released just before Christmas, it was a lot around our email reporting. So we brought into the Red app the ability to set up reports for yourself as a partner or for your customers to be emailed to any number of recipients and set on any sort of recurrence pattern, daily, weekly, monthly. And so that included sort of a combined overview report, which looked at total customers, some of the errors over the last 7 days, some of the error reporting, and then we've got on the horizon, which should be released sort of February, March time, we've got some of the consumption reports on the way that we'll add to that as well. Coming up in Q1, so we've got some really exciting developments for our 365 and Google Workspace products. So we've been working incredibly hard on delivering our permission recovery. So today we're diligently backing up and protecting SharePoint and OneDrive and G Drive, and protecting all those files, and you can recover those either back to the account or in the case of OneDrive to a different account and G Drive, or you can recover them via instant data. And that's fantastic as part of the recovery process, but what we're adding is functionality to also recover any permissions. So if certain files and folders in SharePoint, OneDrive, or G Drive have sort of explicit permissions set so that only certain people can access them, or sharing links that have been shared around the business so people can edit and copy a single file, you'll be able to recover those. So you can choose that through the recovery flow. So you can see here, as I've gone to recover a SharePoint site, it's asked me if I want to restore everything, including deleted files and folders, overwriting existing ones, or just restore the deleted ones, as well as restoring permissions and or restoring shareable links. And that will then send out all the new links to the right people. And the great thing about that is that really reduces the overall RTO in getting that SharePoint site that may have suffered some data deletion, corruption, or something else back online, so the business can function as usual. We've just literally last week launched our SharePoint Early Access. And so if you want to get stuck in and part of that, please reach out to account manager. We're more than happy to have you part of that. And we'll be launching and releasing the OneDrive and G Drive permissions, as well as making the SharePoint permissions GA from about sort of February time. Okay, so it's firmly in Q1. We're also making some improvements and enhancements to our initial backup creation and selection. So today we've got a process where you need to go backup Exchange, and then OneDrive and SharePoint, and then Teams. And sometimes it can be a little bit cumbersome to get all of them done in a timely fashion. So we'll be adding and launching our Express functionality over the coming weeks, which will allow you to, when you're initially onboarding brand new customers onto the 365 backup tools, you'll be able to set that. click through and submit all the correct credentials to stand up the permissions and the apps in the tenant, and select all the data super fast. And so the idea here is really to reduce the time it takes to create those initial backup configurations. And then once you've gone through those couple of short steps, you'll get a really quick summary over what data you've selected as part of that express install and setup. So as I said, we're planning this for Q1, so expect that to come out over the next month or two. And then finally, on the data protection side of the house, we have a bring your own key vault planned. So this is where customers today and their backups, especially their cloud-based backups, things like 365, Entra ID, Google Workspace, use the CyberSentriq or Red Store managed key vault system that falls as part of our ISO 27001, our SOC 2 and all our other credentials we have. But what we're also adding to the platform in Q2 this year will be the ability for your customers to bring their own key vaults. So their own key vaults are hosted in Azure or hosted in AWS. They'll be able to hook those up to the Red app through here. And what that will do is use the encryption keys to encrypt the backups and decrypt them for recoveries from their key vaults. So in the event of outages, they can, and things, for example, like that, where we might see an outage on Azure or one of the platforms, you'll be able to use those keys from the key vault to recover that data locally if needed. Again, this gives real independence for you and your customers from the platforms, and really helps with trust the fact that we're doing the right things for some of those precious and important data. So that's the data protection roadmap over the next couple of quarters. And what we'll do now is have a look at the cybersecurity roadmap and what we've got planned coming up over the next weeks and months. So we'll start off with the security awareness training tool, and this is our best-in-class security awareness training solution that we're working towards. So recently, just before Christmas, we launched our multi-language support. So this supported up to, I think, about sort of 15 different languages. You can set via the platform for multi-language support, and that should allow those international companies or businesses with multiple regions to deploy our security awareness training and allow those customers to do it in their native tongue. We also have, as part of Q1, we've got our quizzes and results tracking. So for anybody who's completed some of the security awareness training and testing, you'll get some of the tracking about how well they're performing and how they're going through that, but then also some of the results over that time period. And then looking forward into Q2 with our security awareness training, we have our system phishing lure generation. So today the platform will generate its own lures and push through those for you. But if you want to create or target specific users as part of our security awareness training, and maybe want to set some really complex system lures, you can input details, things like create an eBay spear phishing lure for the CEO. And that will use AI to generate a really convincing email, and I've certainly been duped a few times by these, to then test employees and set those phishing lures up. And it's a really powerful tool, and I think especially as we're seeing a much higher level of sophistication when it comes to these organizations who are using some of the latest AI gen tools, to be able to generate some really convincing tools to also up our game here. And this is not the only thing we're doing to help improve and broaden that security. I'll talk about our API-based email security minute that's tackling this as well from the other side. But it's a really powerful tool. And so this will be launching in Q2. And then looking slightly further ahead, which I think is planned for early Q3, it'll be our campaign management tools as well. So as part of setting up the security awareness training out of the box, partners and customers will be able to go and change some of those settings and some of those details as part of those phishing campaigns, should they wish to, and don't want to use the out of the box solutions. Good. So moving on from our security awareness training to our email security, we have launched just before Christmas our customized banners. So this was part of our email security solutions, where we inject banners as part of that to warn users about certain emails that have been picked up, and warning that they may be malware or phishing. And what you'll now be able to do as an MSP is put your name in there, and that allows you to demonstrate to your customers the value you're adding, and the fact that those tools are helping them day in, day out, avoiding and managing and mitigating some of these security threats. And as part of that branding experience, we also launched the ability to add some of your own logos and branding to the portals, so that as customers can log in or log into those portals, they can see your branding and have that familiar face. Again, on our email security platform, just before Christmas, we launched our history of mail trace. So this is a view of our Fish Titan or API-based email security, a view of all the emails that it's picked up, and you can see the status and the verdict that was picked up as part of those. So you can see some emails were marked as clean, they were delivered. Others were marked as suspicious or malicious, and they were either banner applied to those ones that might be suspicious to warn users, or malicious and they're caught in quarantine and actions required to go do that. Others, for example, may be remediated as well and set up correctly. And then finally, as part of our email security, we've added some capabilities for users to log in as well. So users be able to log in, see what's in their quarantine reports as part of the email platform, and see whether the emails have been delivered, they've been rejected, or they've been banned, as you've seen just before. And then probably one of the biggest pieces we're excited for is in Q1 and email security is updates we're making behind the scenes to our API-based or ICS-based email security. And what we're doing here is we're using a brand new detection engine that uses natural language processing at its core to help really improve the capabilities and the detection capabilities of our API ICA-based email security solution, otherwise known as Fish Titan to some of you. And what's different about this, and what's so powerful about this, is that it's using a whole brand new data set as part of the NLP processes to ensure that we can then spot and target in emails some real subtle differences that threat actors are now using to engineer either social engineering attacks or compromising or back attacks. And so what's going on here is that we're looking out for things like domain names that are ever so slightly different. Things like perhaps maybe everyone calls me Dan, for example, but actually, someone would call me Daniel. That raises some suspicion, or where we can sort of detect as part of the NLP something like a sense of urgency has been generated in the email. So this is a really powerful hyper-targeted tool as part of our Fish Titan product. And what we're doing here is, for example, if a new threat was detected on Monday morning, by Monday afternoon, that threat and remediation, that all that data and details would have been already included into PhishShield. PhishShield would now be aware of it as part of it and start blocking emails at least by the end of the day as a result of that new threat appearing. I think what's really important is in here, you saw as part of the AI generated phishing lure I talked about earlier, is that we're staying up to speed and in time with some of the latest threats. So with the advent of things like LLMs, ChatGPT and AI, it's never been easier to create really convincing spear phishing emails. And so in lockstep, we need to make sure the tools and technology are able to deal with those and the latest, greatest threats. And that's exactly what we'll be releasing in this quarter as part of our email security. So we're really excited by it for all the obvious reasons. And we're launching that over the coming weeks and months. And if you want to get involved in an early access program for this, please feel free to reach out to your account manager and we'll be able to set you up with the latest and greatest of our PhishShield technology. And then finally, probably the big announcement for us on our email security platform is we're taking our pre-inbox or our gateway-based solution, our MX record-based email security solution, and we're integrating it deeply with our API ICAS post-inbox threat detection tools as well. And what this means for you and your customers is you'll get the benefit of both these two different types of solutions. So that gateway-based solution, as well as the API solution, working hand in hand to really protect each and every single one of your customers' email inboxes alongside their Microsoft 365 environment. And what we're launching as part of this is a huge raft of features and tying them tightly together. And I'm going to rattle through them as fast as I can here because there's so many of them. But we're talking things like frontline defenses, including sort of SPF, DMARC, DKIM, etc. Geo-blocking, so regional blocking regional lists. You'll be able to set up your own block lists. You'll have your email history that we looked at a little bit earlier. Attachment filtering, so sourcing and organizing attachments to block any sort of risky or malware-based ones. Advanced exemptions for skipping domains, sending IP, quarantines and quarantine reports, certainly spoken about already. Pattern filtering, email audit trail, as well as many, many other features. So we're bringing that all together into the platform. We'll be integrating deeply that MX-based solution with that API-based solution. And that will give the best-in-class protection for your customers. And if you do want to get stuck into that, we'll be opening up an early access program in Q2 as part of this. And so please, again, reach out to your account manager, and we'll be able to get you involved in that early access program for our MX-based email security integrated tightly with our API-based email security as well. Good. So I've just covered the data protection side of the house, and that was the backup and recovery, as well as email security, and we've obviously got some big announcements we've made as part of that. The final piece of the puzzle is what I sort of determine as the integration roadmap. So how are we bringing, the Red Store side of the house and the Titan side of the house together to create one powerful for you guys to make sure it's best in class, it works really, really well, and meets all the needs, your day-to-day needs. And I'm just going to talk through a couple of things that we've got planned, and then I'll give you a lovely video of where we're headed, give you a much better idea about what the plan is as we go forward. So just before Christmas, on the Red app or the Red Store side of the house, we launched our Restore and Comply bundle support in-app. So this is allowing you to self-serve the Restore bundle and then request an upgrade for the Comply bundle, which is Microsoft 365 and Entra ID for the Restore bundle, and then Microsoft 365 Entra ID backup and the email archiving solution from the Titan team in the Comply bundle. So we launched that pre-Christmas. That's set up with all the correct billing. We've also made a whole raft of changes going on at the moment under the hood for our billing and systems. As we've grown, with doubled revenue and size both organisations, we're looking at we've ripped half of them out, and we're updating them and looking to launch that in probably Q2 this year for a much more robust, slick, and accurate billing system as we go forward. So then looking a bit further ahead on the integration roadmap, we've got a few bits and pieces planned. So the big one is making sure that if you adopt solutions from both the data protection side of the house, the backup and recovery, as well as the cybersecurity solutions, whether it's email security, API, SIG-based, for example, or security awareness training, you'll be able to seamlessly navigate between those two platforms quite early on. So we're looking at launching this sort of early Q3, where you have a really integrated experience where you can switch between the two platforms, manage both customers, both sets of customers on those platforms really seamlessly. And then from there, we'll be updating and bringing those tighter and tighter together as we build a single unified platform for all of us. And then finally, probably the biggest announcement in terms of integration for us is our PSA integrations. And so we'll be launching not one, but 4 PSA integrations in Q2. And I'm delighted to announce we'll be launching things like HaloPSA integration, we'll be updating the ConnectWise integration, we'll be launching an Autotask integration, a Syncro integration, all in Q2 this year. So you'll be able to connect with those PSA tools, and then that will allow you to sync up things like invoices and customers, etc., to your PSA tooling. So I'm told HaloPSA is sort of on a bit of a charge at the moment, and everyone's loving them. But if you use something that's not on our list, please let us know in the chat, and we'll see if we can add it into the roadmap as well. Good. So the final piece that I want to share with you is we sort of looked at the data protection roadmap. We've looked at the email security roadmap. and what we're doing there, as well as what we're doing to bring the platforms together and some of the early steps of making things like app switching, the bundles, for example, we've launched the self-service capabilities, some of the self-service capabilities, and also some of the PSA integrations. But I wanted to sort of lift the hood slightly on what we've been working, especially over Christmas in the product teams and engineering teams, and the direction that we're headed in, so you get a bit of an idea of what might come up in the second half of this year as well. And I wanted to leave this with you so you get the idea of where we're headed. And so very, very simply, we'll be really, you saw those sort of app switching capabilities, bringing the platforms together. So you can see you've got your data protection as well as your email archiving in here, and you'll be able to switch into things like email security, but also you'll be able to see much more detail around some of your customers and how they're sat in there, and then flick and dive deeper into either the data protection tooling, the email security, or the email archiving tooling as well. And again, having a really joined up experience that we can all help and really bring that sort of broad protection support around all of our customers. And then the other thing I wanted to show you, so that was sort of looking at how you might be able to report and customers and set up and switching between the different solution sets. The other thing I want to show you is how we want to make it even easier to add customers. So we talked earlier a bit of a couple of updates around our 365 onboarding, and I talked a little bit around our PSA tooling, but I wanted to show you a little bit more about where we're headed about making that onboarding even easier than it is today. So I'll take you through it now. So you can imagine you've got your list of customers here, and again, they've got different variants, different sort of tools, whether it's the backup security, the email security, or some email archiving. You'll be able to dive down into some more of those details and see those all in the same platform and portal. And then what you'll be able to do is also seamlessly integrate with one of those chosen PSA toolings. So here you can actually add customers and import from PSA. You'll be asked for the credentials from your HaloPSA tooling, which you'll be able to switch out to Halo and grab some of those details. Input them back into the platform, activate that integration, and then you'll be asked, do you want to import all your customers or selected ones? We'll go and import all of those customers from Halo that we can see, give you a status report, and then you'll be able to go and provision those products and bundles to those customers really seamlessly. And that's just one of the ways we're trying to really integrate tightly into those workflows, make it really easy for you guys, so you can focus on customers and not on tech, as it were. So as I said, these sort of two videos hopefully give you an idea of where we're headed in the sort of second half and beyond later in the year, and all this work that we're doing as part of those roadmap deliverables, where we're going to end up as part of the solution. Now, I'm sure it probably won't look exactly like this when we get there, and as we start developing that, we'll learn more, we'll understand how they fit together, and make sure it's a really, really seamless solution. Cool. So my final little bit is looking at what products are available and how you can purchase them, buy them from CyberSentriq. So we've talked a little bit about a few of them, but starting off on the sort of data protection side of the house. So if you're a Microsoft 365 customer today and you're just backing up and protecting Microsoft 365, well, we have a restore bundle that's perfect for you. So that has not just Microsoft 365 backup, but also Entra ID backup, and that is all hanging off the 365 active and inactive and fair use policy seats as part of that. And that's a great first step to increasing and improving your data protection. And I really genuinely believe Entra ID is the next threat vector. For those I've spoken to in person, I talk about this relentlessly. But I really think Entra ID is the next major threat vector, especially as you can get from here anywhere, almost anywhere in an organization, not just the Microsoft side of the house, but also the non-Microsoft tools as well. So if you have the restore, you can take a step further and combine our backup and recovery of 365 and Entra ID with our tamper-proof, best-in-class email archiving solution. And that's based on journaling, so that sits there alongside emails, making sure each and every email is archived, and then you've got an accurate, complete record of any emails that went back and forth from each and every user, and then you've got the backup tool alongside it to then go and recover. So if you think about it, sort of backup for recovery and archiving for discovery, they go really, really well together as part of the Comply bundle. So if you then have come from the email security side of the house, the Titan HQ products, you'll be hopefully very familiar with things like Spam and Phish Titan, but our MX and ICS email-based threat protection and email security. So you may have those solutions already. You may be looking at investigating those, but you may be aware of the things like the secure bundle. And you sort of heard some of the developments we're making later on in the year by bringing those and turning into a really powerful engine together. But we've also got the Protect bundle. So that's where you can take our email security solutions, that MX and API based, and then combine that with our 365 backup and Entra ID products as well. So this gives you the best of both worlds. You've got your frontline defenses with email security, pre and post inbox, but then you've also got the ability to then recover data across our comprehensive 365 and Entra ID backup solutions. And then finally, if you want to leap all in and go for all of our solutions, we've got the complete bundle. So that combines our email security solutions, our API and MX-based email threat protection, our 365 and Entra ID backup, our security awareness training, our DNS filtering, our email archiving, all in one simple bundle that you can deploy to each and every single one of your customers. So if you'd like to find out more information on these bundles or try them out, please do reach out to account managers and they'll be more than happy to take you through a real sort of comprehensive set of solutions. Good. So I think the Q&A has been chattering away, I can see in the background, but hopefully we can answer a few of these as we go through. So let's have a look.
Yeah, we've got loads of questions coming in. So yeah, make sure you send some more in to us, and any that we don't get to, we'll contact you directly as well. So just bear that in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So who have we got?
Let's see. It's a lot to get.
So shall I go? I've got a good question from Scott.
Yeah,
who's asked us, I've had end users use the features and spanning to recover OneDrive files. How does your product compare? So yeah, great question. So spanning is a good solution. I think they've got some good stuff in there. I'm always going to sit on the side of the CyberSentriq camp, but I think we've got some real comprehensive solutions as part of our backup recovery. We've got that Entra ID backup as well, which I think is absolutely critical in today's modern world. We've got features such as instant data available on our OneDrive. So you can perform a cloud-to-cloud recovery, but if you want to do something local, you can stream OneDrive files and folders of any size you like almost instantaneously to that user's desktop, and so they can access those files on the fly. You're not waiting weeks to recover an entire OneDrive account, and you can do it in literally seconds. So yeah, feel free to reach out to an account manager, and they'll be more than happy to give you a demonstration of things like instant data and our OneDrive, our SharePoint, our Teams, and Exchange recovery capabilities in Microsoft. Good question. What else? I'm sort of starting at the bottom and going up. So Ian's asked, are we recording the session? So yeah, we're recording the session, and we'll send one out around afterwards, won't we? Scott said, where are your data centers? So yeah, good question. As another good question from Scott. So where are your data centers? So we've got from the backup and recovery side of the house, we've got points of presence all over the globe in region with some geographical redundancy as well. We publish on their website, so we'll send some stuff over. And if you've got some specific questions, we can share with you. If you do choose our backup tool, you'll be able to see in the backup solution where your data is being stored in which geographical region, and that's either in the user interface or via the APIs.
How do we sign up for a trial? Well, if you, that should be an easy one. So if you want to sign up for a trial, we can, if you send a message here in the chat, or else in the end of this webinar, we'll have a survey, and you can answer which solutions you're interested in learning more about, and we'll have a contact or our account managers reach out to you, or vice versa. If you know who your account manager is, you can reach out to them as well. But we'll have them reach out to you anyway.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Next one, let's have a quick look. Does the grouping feature in SAT also assign any remediation products? Scott, I'll endeavour to get back to you on that one, because I don't have that off the top of my head, and I don't want to give any false answers. But I'll come back to you on that one if that's okay. Rod's asked, what's the status for Spam Titan on-premise product? Will it continue? Will it be getting any of these features? So yeah, another good question, Rod. Thank you very much. So yes, absolutely. The status of Spam Titan will continue. We'll continue to support that. Just because we're integrating the MX Record based solution into the Fish Titan, into the platform, doesn't mean we will neglect or start turning off the on-premise product. We absolutely understand that's a really vital piece, and we're not going to do anything there to upset anything. We will, I'm sure we'll get lots of features we'll be able to keep deploying to the on-premise Spam Titan, but as we can understand, we won't be able to give everything there. What I'll do is I'll try and get a list of what the delta might be for you, and then we can share that with you. Okay. Yeah, good question. Where else?
Just a question here on the recording as well. I know because for two people, I think the slides didn't show for some reason, but we'll send the recording out to you anyway, and we'll send out the slides as well. So there's no problem there. Yeah. How about the backup and public folders, Dan?
Oh yeah, backing up public folders. That's a good question. So today we don't back up public folders, but we are certainly looking at broadening some of those capabilities of the backup tool in the future. Don't have any dates I can share with you yet, but I imagine maybe towards the second half of the year we'll look at that. I think Microsoft started to depreciate some of the backup folders and those capabilities as well, and they moved them to, I think, Microsoft groups. So it's probably a combination of working out what we can back up and what's supportable for the sort of longer term and some of those migration paths. Okay.
Brilliant. We have a question, a very good question, Dan, here about, we have a lot of features and just wondering if it's a centralized platform with email security and backup, or is it separate?
Oh yeah, great question. Yeah, so yeah, lots of features. You're right. The teams are working really hard. Today we have sort of two platforms. In principle, we have sort of the Red Store, so the Red Store Legacy, which is the backup and data protection products, and then we've got the Titan products platforms there, as well as I think the on-prem Spam Titan, and then some of the email archiving tools. So lots of the changes on the email security side are going to be in the platform, email security platform. But as I sort of showed you towards the end, that concept car, what we really want to do is collect all those lovely products and tools and solutions we have available and bring them together into one single platform for you guys. So I think at the moment there's quite a few different ones kicking around, can be hard to navigate at times, but that's our overall future vision. And so hopefully you've got a bit of an insight of where we're headed in terms of bringing those into single user interface. So you've got data protection, your backup is all, you can drill down into that. You've got your email security, you've got your email archiving, you've got security awareness training, and you can navigate between those, and you can provision those bundles and all those different tools really seamlessly to your users as well. So there's a couple of different stages in there. Lots of the email security features are aimed at the platform side of it, so that's sort of the Fish Titan and bringing the MX-based records into it. Okay.
We've got loads of questions coming through. Next question
from Ricky here, which says, do you have different levels of retention for backup? So yes, we absolutely do, and it's all at the same price. So we offer unlimited retention, and you've got a whole host of settings in the platform where you can set that to 7 years for active users that you're backing up day in, day out, and maybe a year for inactive seats that you've backed up historically and that people have left the organization. And you can go and change those configurations. You can set up policies and all sorts. So yeah, really comprehensive solution around retention. Good question. We have Arc Titan, Fish Titan, and Grip Titan. Will the MX integration be added to our current bundle? Oh, that's a good question. From Andrew. I think the MX, I'm pretty sure the MX integration will be included as part of the Fish Titan solutions. I'll need to just go and double check because I think it may vary, but I'm pretty sure we want to make it accessible to everybody. We'll make sure it's really easy to get hold of. So yeah, I think so. We'll have to go and double check and get back to you if that's all right, Andrew. Another good question.
Another question on the bundles. We'll reach out to you directly on the difference of the bundles. We'll have your account manager reach out to showcase the difference there.
Oh yeah. Is that from Keith?
Yes.
Yeah. So Keith asks, he's a vet, so thanks for coming on to that. I'm sorry I didn't see you. And says, how do these 5 bundles compare to the Education, Restore, Protect, and Secure bundles? And in short, they're very similar. In terms of the bundles you saw earlier with the education ones, we've tried to keep it quite simple. There are a couple of nuances and differences, and yeah, as Treva said, your account manager can help out and show you through the subtle nuances and differences there. Good. Right, we're getting on. Gary's after my email. I think Treva's already sent it over, so yeah, please feel free.
Send all the questions to Dan.
Any chance of phishing protection becoming available on-prem, from Lauren? So that's a good question. So we do obviously have phishing protection built into the Spam Titan product. I think it's more about whether we turn it into an API-based solution as well for bringing it in. So what we are doing is we're effectively integrating and having the MX-based solution integrated tightly with the API solution. There will be a migration path if you want to adopt that solution, but I don't think we're making a huge number of changes to the on-prem solutions. Okay.
Perfect.
Oh yeah, Jamie Gallagher's asked, in terms of billing, we've had to tell our account managers of changes to products for clients manually. Will this now be automatic? Do we know what quarter? So yeah, great question. So as I sort of said earlier, and didn't have a dedicated slide for it, but the team have been working really hard. I mean, a huge number of people have been working really hard on ripping out and replacing the billing engines within both businesses so we can have a real joined up unified system. We're looking at starting to deploy that from early Q2, so it's April, May time. And then in terms of changes, we want to pick those up. I don't have a dedicated quarter I can give you, but I imagine it'll be quite shortly after we've updated and launched those new systems early Q2. Okay. But yeah, ultimately our goal is for that seamless platform you saw, self-service. If customers want to spin up, spin down, then you've got those capabilities as well within contract. Good question. Have I missed any? It keeps sort of jumping around, so I'm just making sure I haven't. But if I have, or you've got any other questions you think of, please feel free to email myself and/or Treva, and we'll come back to you as best we can.
Yeah, I think that kind of covers them all anyway. I don't see any new ones coming in, so I think we'll wrap it there, Dan.
Cool.
Yeah, so yeah, thanks so much, everyone.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, Treva. Thank you very much, everyone. Really appreciate you guys carving out an afternoon. And speak to you soon, hopefully.
Speak soon, and thanks so much, Dan. And as we mentioned, any questions we didn't get back to, I'll have a look through once this is over, and we'll get back to you directly. And if you could just take 2 seconds to answer a survey at the end, we'd really appreciate it. Thank you all so much.
Thanks all. Cheers.
Bye.